The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network. This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Dirt. I'm Vince Russo. This is the Realm Network, and I'm joined, as always, by co-host Jeff Lane, as he's going to dish out the dirt this week in sports entertainment / professional wrestling. Jeff, how you doing?
Doing good. A lot of interesting stuff this week. I even brought some extras. There was so much. I don't even know if we'll have time to cover it all. So
we'll have time to cover it all because it's going to be a special week, Jeff, because we have a very special guest. And listen, bro, you know how long-winded this guy is. So, just get ready for like a 90-minute show, even though I do have a Giant game to watch, by the way. But joining us tonight is the great Glenn Gilbernetti, the Disco Inferno. Glenn, how you doing over there, bro?
I'm doing fine, Vince. How are you?
I'm glad to see you're all revved up and excited about doing the show, bro. That's a good sign.
Well, this is one of those deals, like, let's be honest, right? You call me, to come save your show, like whatever you need help, I'm like the go-to guy, come and you beg me to be on the show, and I'm all right, it's just like here I am.
Bro, let's face it though, Glenn. Let's be honest. You kind of are the go-to podcasting guy in 2016, aren't you, bro?
Well, that's what you read. You've read my Twitter handle, right? My bio.
What's it say?
I said I'm a professional. Let me read it here. Hang on. Let me see what it says here.
All right. See, Jeff, we're 2 minutes in and he's putting himself over. 2 minutes in, he's putting himself over.
Yeah, well, of course I'm putting myself over. Of course I'm putting myself over. I'm going to take every opportunity I can to here. So basically, my bio says, right here, if you look at my thing, if you go on go on Twitter and you read Glenn Gilberti, it says, former WCW TV champion and Cruiserweight champion and professional VIP wrestling podcast guest.
Hey, Glenn, put over, because I like those guys, bro. All my buddies are on the show. I know you're on MLW quite a bit. Tell the audience a little bit about MLW. Let's give them a plug, bro.
I got heat with those guys. First of all, I don't have heat with them, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. Can we get? You want some hot news here?
Go for it, bro. We love hot news.
I don't know if you looked at my Twitter, but I have a list of people since I'm now I have a podcast. I have a list of people I want to bury.
Who's on that list? Who's on that list?
Number one on the list, Mr. One Conan, at Conan 5150. Okay, and let me explain why he is on that list. All right, so, Conan's my boy. He's your boy. We love Conan, okay? And, Conan has been one to always speak his mind. And Conan, because he speaks his mind and has been very controversial past year, he gets heat with a lot of people. And the thing I kind of like, that kind of upsets me a little bit, is when friends of mine, have heat with each other. Especially when we were all friends to begin with,
right?
And Conan had a falling out with TNA, and basically, he had a falling out with our good friend of the show, one Jay Borash, Jeremy Borash.
Oh, interesting, bro. Because
you didn't know this.
No, okay, I don't know this. Now I'm interested. Now you got my attention.
Okay, well, basically for the past couple of years, Conan, MLW, him and Court Bauer, who's also on my list. Okay, all right. They basically have a thing called the Stooge of the Year thing that they do. They do a vote on the podcast Stooge of the Year, and every year they put two of the candidates every single year are one at Jeremy Borash, and Terry Taylor, who we will admit, I think even by his own admission, Terry Taylor is a stooge, but he works in the office. That was his position.
Right.
Like when you are director of talent relations, you are the stooge to the boss.
Right.
So that's a job description. I mean, like you have to tell the boss what's going on with the boys and let them know, But I've never heard the specific story. But Jeremy is Conan has always referred to Jeremy now as a big stooge. And they bury Jeremy on the show all the time, they put him on the voting for the stooge. And it was funny because, we went up in the voting. If you go look at the voting, okay, they have the voting for Stooge Year, and I tweeted that, Jeremy Borash, it's interesting, our good friend Jeremy, has the same amount of votes for Stooge of the Year as Conan and Court Bauer, which was 0. Nobody voted for him. And, so I did a podcast on MLW, okay, recently, a couple weeks ago, and, I kind of brought up, Jeremy, wanted kind of to be known, maybe his voice be heard, Jeremy had a rebuttal. Kind of like he's been buried on that show for a long time, and he texted me a couple comments that he wanted me to repeat, let me know, and they were like, okay, so I repeated it. So mysteriously, all right, that show that I did an hour podcast. They told me that the file somehow got corrupted, and the show disappeared. Okay. All right, now, bro, now, let's be honest. It was a good show, okay? But it was just suspicious to me that Jeremy basically, had his little, I put his 2 cents. Do you want to read the comments?
Well, first of all, bro, you're skipping over a lot. Listen, I know Conan.
No. I'm skipping over, but I don't know a lot. That's the whole problem.
Bro, you have to know the reason. Conan's got to have heat with JB for a reason. JB had to do something. Do you know what that is?
No, I keep saying, what did he do? He says, well, if you knew what I knew, you would think he's a stooge too.
So okay.
And I'm like, so I'm not, but bro, Conan's got no problem speaking his mind. He aired his differences with AAA that he had recently. And Conan's a straight shooter, which is why he has a lot of respect in the business.
Yeah, well, bro, let's call a spade a spade. He's high 75% of the time, bro. That's got to come into the equation. I mean, can we be honest?
You do the podcast with him, and you can hear the lighters going off in the background, and
Bro, he was rolling joints on TV. I'm like, bro, do you understand this is going out on video? And he goes, I know. I said, bro, isn't pot illegal in San Diego? He goes, yeah, bro. What are they going to come to my house? I said, maybe.
Bro, hey, when you're that over. I mean, I guess you're kind of untouchable,
Yeah.
So basically, I read the comments on the air, and I had, and this is what got me mad. Okay, is that they basically said we're going to have to redo the show. Okay, well, to this day, they still have not called me to redo the show. And you know what? You know what they did instead? What'd they do? They do a show with our boy Dave Meltzer and make it a 2-part series for 2 straight weeks. Okay, so instead, So basically, my show got censored, okay, and I got bumped for Meltzer for 2 weeks, and they still haven't called me back to redo the podcast. Okay, so
how many stars did Meltzer give JB of being a potential stooge? 4 stars, 5 stars?
Meltzer went on the show. I don't think he even spoke about it, Yeah, okay, but let me just. Can I read Jeremy's rebuttal since
you can't hijack the show, bro? Just you've already hijacked the entire thing already.
Here was Jeremy's. Well, this is Lion Tigers, but this is dirt. Right. Okay, this is good. This is good for your show, right?
Okay.
Okay. So this is Jeremy's rebuttal. Okay, he said, just make the point that Conan, Court, Cornette, and MVP, those are all guys at MLW Radio,
right,
can't seem to stay employed anywhere for more than a cup of coffee. And I have kept the same job, making great money, and I'm under contract to TNA, Stern, and Chef Irvin's show simultaneously. And this was the controversial comment. It's like Jeremy even admits, it says, it might be better to be a stooge. So I think Jeremy might be admitting that he might be a stooge. Yeah. Okay, I've still got 3 jobs.
Yeah, he's saying it's good for business to be a stooge.
Maybe. Okay, so that's so in Court basically, him and Conan always bury me on their show when I'm not there, and they never give me a chance. Court was on your show too. And I should have put you on the list, but since I'm going to be on your show, you and Court took the opportunity when you did your podcast Yes, to bury me. I don't have it. Obviously I'm not there. I can't respond to everything. But here's my chance to respond. I thought that was disrespectful.
Well, bro,
Okay.
every guest I bring on the show, one of the questions that comes up is, can we all agree that Glenn Gilbernetti killed WCW? That
Okay,
always gets brought up on every show. Bro, as a matter of fact, it got brought up with Val Venus today, and he didn't even work at WCW.
You actually brought that up with him?
Yeah.
Bro? That is what you're doing is, bro. You know the internet, the people, they believe that.
Yeah. Well,
So then what happens is they think that the Martians, the Invisible Man, they think they think that I'm the guy, and what it does is it takes the heat off you.
Bro, Vince McMahon believed you were serious about the Martian angle, bro.
Bro, isn't that great?
That's one of the best stories of all time.
I think that's the funniest thing is that the story starts with what? 2 antennae popping out of Mike Tenay's
head. Yeah, and Vince bought into that, bro.
And people accept that like I was pitching that like seriously.
Yeah, and bro, here's the funny part, bro. Vince believed that, and he wasn't even 70 years old at the time. If he believed it today, okay. But,
okay. I don't want to hijack your show, but there's one other guy I got to bury.
Go ahead.
Your boy, and that you promoted your big anniversary show coming up. Who's going to be your big guest? It's been a year and stuff. Who's your big guest you're bringing in now?
Who's this, Ferrara?
Oh, yeah, your boy Eddie Bear Ferrara,
What did he do now?
Well, he always keeps burying me on he always takes a chance. But, bro, let me tell you something. Ed went and he does this show on MLW. You should. I think they want to bring you on this show too. That Writers Room show with Alex.
Yeah, no, bro.
That's a good show.
Asked me to do it. I told them I'd do it. I'm just waiting for them to tell me.
They'll probably get you. It's a great show. Alex is a great host too. But bro, those guys did a show. It's on now. You can see it. Listen to an MLW Radio, the Writers Room, if you have VIP. Bro, they did a show. They're talking about the movie Batman versus Superman.
Right.
Bro, the review that they're doing of the show lasted longer than the movie.
Oh yeah, bro.
Ed will talk about comic books.
Oh, forget it, bro.
Comic book movies.
Bro, if you get it, bro.
Sit through the movie longer than it would take for them to talk about it.
Bro, if you get Ed going about the Avengers, forget about it, bro.
Oh my
I can't
God,
talk about that for us. All right, Jeff. I know we got a lot of news this week. Get us rolling.
Well, I wanted to start off. I know you wanted to send some well wishes Marc Mero's way. He had announced on Instagram that in June he's going to be having surgery on his heart. He needs to have an aorta and heart valve replaced. Hopefully everything will go well with that, but that's a big deal and that's serious, and I know you wanted to send some wishes.
Yeah, I did. Marc's been having heart issues for a long time, and he publicly doesn't talk about it, bro, but I kind of know it because, he's my buddy. And, every time he goes in for a checkup, there has always been like some kind of last-minute miracle where he didn't need the surgery. But he just went in this past week, and the doctor said, Marc, you need the surgery. So now they've scheduled the surgery, and, bro, basically it is open heart surgery. But, Marc's got great surgeons. Marc's a strong guy. I mean, bro, I hate to say this, but open heart surgery today, is like, when we got our tonsils out as kids. That's how far along it's come. But again, it's serious, but Marc's ready for it. Marc knows that he needs to get this surgery done. So everybody just keep Marc in your prayers, as he goes through this tough time. But, Marc, I just wanted him to know we're all thinking about him. We're all pulling for him. Did you know about this, Glenn?
I had no clue.
Yeah, but
first time.
he'll be okay. You know why you have no clue, Glenn?
Why?
Because you don't have a heart, bro. So you don't have to worry about anything happening with your aorta or anything.
You're being disrespectful to me again. Like this is a recurring theme. Just like try to deflect the criticism.
And you know what I want you to find out for me, because you're part of this MLW family, and I'm promoting them. I have no problem doing that, bro. Bro, you know what I want you to find out, bro? A member of the brand went up to MVP and asked MVP if he would like to be a guest on my show. You know what MVP told the guy?
What did he say?
I'm not a fan of Vince Russo's work.
What are you mad about that for?
I'm not mad about that, bro.
I've never met MVP. I've never come in contact with him, spoken a word to him, or just I don't know the guy. I know Conan knows him well.
I would just, for him to make a statement like I'm not a fan of his work, I would just be curious what he didn't like about it.
Probably because he's probably the guys that like broke into the business during the internet age and just read the stories about you, how you killed wrestling, read the stories about how somehow when you were writing in WWE and the ratings were real high and you did all that business and then you left the ratings real high, that somehow you writing the TV then and creating those big ratings, that after you left, what you did there created the downfall of the business when you left. And I think that's like, people like, they probably read that and think that you probably are responsible for creating a type of like television that ruined the business. And to be honest with you, I think there might be some merit to that, that maybe
let's go on with
I don't know, bro. I don't know. Why don't you ask Conan next time you have him on?
Are they buddies? Are they tight?
I mean, I don't even know why the guy would like to be in your podcast would have to be a fan of your work. I mean, I'll go on anybody's podcast if they're like, they don't even have to be friends of mine if they're, relevant. I mean, bro, I get messages all the time. People want to be on their podcast. I look at their Twitter handle; they got 46 followers. I'm like, forget it. But like, I'll do shows like this. That's a thing too. Is like, you're trying to be relevant and stuff like that. Well, people ask me to do podcasts, so I must be kind of relevant, So right, that's the thing. Like, hey, he's trying to be relevant. Well, I'm doing a podcast, and a lot of people are listening to it, so
I
am relevant. So
I have to go out of my way, Glenn, because they like to say about me now that I'm trying to stay relevant. I don't know if you heard my show last week, but bro, I gave a top 11 list of why I'm totally irrelevant.
Right.
And I actually reviewed a Tiny Tim album that was in my collection. I'm like, bro, if I'm not irrelevant by listening.
Did you do that on the bucket full of chicken eggs? That show that you did there?
Yeah, bucket full of chicken eggs. Yeah, I did it on that. Jeff, go on with the news. I will not be held responsible for anything that comes out of the mouth from Glenn Gilbernetti. He is not tied into this show. I'm not responsible for his comments. Let me just say that up front. So go ahead with the news, Jeff.
If anybody hasn't been paying attention to the news, there was a wildfire that devastated a town in Alberta, Canada. Kevin Owens and Tyler Breeze are putting together a fundraiser, a GoFundMe account, to try to raise money to help the victims. And they had a goal of $30,000, and by the time of this recording right now, they're already over $50,000. I guess they've set a new goal for $100,000, and what they're doing is anybody that donates at least $100, they're getting a personal video message from Kevin and Tyler, and they'll follow them on Twitter. So it's it's pretty cool that they're reaching out, because I know Tyler Breeze's dad is working up in that area, and Kevin Owens is Canadian, so they're just trying to give back, to their country and stuff. I think that's really cool.
Bro, Tyler Breeze isn't Canadian, is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yes.
No, bro, I think that's cool. I think that's great. And the fact that they raised that kind of money already, bro, they're going to have to do a lot of video messages. I hope they understand that. But, bro, I think that's great. I think that's cool. Glenn, what are your comments on that?
Just to be the party pooper here, okay, of course it's great. Okay, and it's a great story. Yeah, let's go with that. I mean, there's nothing bad about that. But, bro, I'm sorry. I highly doubt this would be the case, but these GoFundMes have always seemed a little shady to me. Like it's not like it's like, okay, we're sending the money, all right, that's fine. I'd like to know that they donated it to a specific charity or something that's helping the thing, okay? Because bro, they're just sending these guys money. Like it's GoFundMe, so it's like that's fine, everything and all that. But like what if you find out that like, okay, they took 80% of the money and they sent it to the fire victims and everything, and they kept 20%. I highly doubt that would happen. But there are tons of GoFundMes on the internet where scams like this happen and stuff, everything where people I'm aware of that.
These guys are public. Bro, is that really the way your mind works? Is that really how you? These guys are public figures, bro. You think Kevin Owens is ripping guys 20% off of their $100, bro?
Of course not. But this is
lying. Kevin Owens is taking $20 for Subway.
Bro, this is Lions.
Is that what you're insinuating?
Lions, Tigers, Bears, and dirt. I don't. You want to just hear a good, happy story? I'm throwing some dirt on
Jeff,
this. All right?
what's next, Jeff? Please, this is outrage. What's
Of
next?
course they're not gonna. Of course they're gonna send the money, but but it'd be a better story if they didn't.
Jeff, Jeff, you notice he's been on the show. Jeff, he's been on the show enough to know that we show the video of this on Realm Network. Bro, how long is he gonna pump up that left arm he's holding over his head, bro?
Should be comfortable, bro.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Jeff. What's next? That's ridiculous.
Raw rating. We'll get the raw ratings out of the way. We had a 2.26 this week, which was down from the 2.35 last week. The viewership was 3.2 million, down from 3.4 million, and the hourly breakdown was 3.3, 3.4, and the last hour was 3.0.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Glenn. You like to talk about the ratings.
No, just saying, bro. If the first thing that if anybody goes to the WWE right now and whoever's charged and head of ratings and everything, bro, the first thing you want to do, you got to fix the third hour. The third hour traditionally in professional wrestling rises,
right?
And like they've been on this thing where constantly the third hour is just down, and I'm like, how could you build up a show that gets worse? It's like, so my thing would be like, let's take steps to build the third hour up and get the third hour back increasing. That'd be the number one priority. Is like, if you build them, you have a main event. All right, what threads are we writing throughout the show? Interviews, build up, reminders, everything to get the third hour up in anticipation build.
Glenn, how many years has Vince McMahon been involved in television now?
God almighty, 30, 40?
Okay, so bro, like, does he not know how to do that?
I don't know, man. I look at the metrics of the show, the numbers, and like I see glaring problems that are so basic they're written in crayons and big things and everything, and they keep repeating the errors. Like, bro, you're a former writer. I was in creative too. There's a lot of guys that do podcasts that used to write for WWE and stuff and all that. And like the problem that they have that we kind of don't have when you think about what's wrong with the WWE is, like, after every single show, after every single segment, when they go to commercial break, okay, the question needs to be asked: what are we doing to get more people watching? Right. What are we doing to get more people watching the show? People rip on Crash TV, okay, but when you have a professional wrestling show and you have, like I said, bro, you're writing the show for the person with the channel changer in their hand.
Right.
The fans that watch the show every week, the 2.2 are going to watch it every week regardless. They're not going to change the channel. We're trying to get the other 0.5 to 0.6 that gradually watch and change the channels and everything. That, like, when you were writing the show, they change the channel, and all of a sudden all the characters from Howard Stern are standing in the ring. Right. Okay? So it's like, now that's going to – traditional wrestling fans go say, oh, what are they doing? This is killing wrestling. Yeah, but we're trying to grab people to grab it to watch the show. It's like they're not writing the show to try to get ratings. It's like they're just writing a wrestling show every week to build to their it's not even a pay. It's to build their $9.99 pay-per-view, their $10 pay-per-view, and it's like that's the effort given.
Jeff, I'm going to say something about Jeff Jarrett in a minute. Glenn, you know what it is? Because I think Jeff, I saw this a lot at TNA, but at TNA it made sense. If you remember when Don West was there, bro, remember when we first started out at TNA, it was such a small following and such a small audience that Jeff used to put all his eggs in the dollars per head basis. Remember that, bro? When they had Don West, how much can we get each person to spend? And Don West was so great at doing that, bro. And TNA had a very small audience, but when everybody that came to the show was spending $15 or $20, they made it profitable. Bro, I think WWE has taken on that same type of business plan. I think now they're looking at, okay, the TNA universe is 2 million people. What can we do to get those 2 million people to spend as much money as possible? I think that's the way they're looking at it, bro. That's why I think they're not going after the numbers anymore. They're going for the quantity, bro, not the number of. They're not going for the quantity. They're going for the quality. How much money can we get the 2 million people to spend?
which is so asinine because like the basic, they're all in on this on the network, okay? And the only way you're going to increase your network audience is to increase the market of people that will buy the network, which is to increase the televised audience.
Right.
And it's like, so ignoring that, it's like, bro, maybe their business acumen just isn't there. You know, I mean, maybe they just lost the, maybe they're looking at different metrics, different numbers. Maybe whatever it is. It's like, bro, it's like a football team that's like all in on like you draft players because you think they're going to work and they don't. And you're playing the games and you're losing and you had it figured out because you thought you were going to win and like stuff. And maybe that's what they're doing. They're poorly coached. They're like they don't have like they haven't gotten the people in there and hired the people to sit there and say, look, we got to increase the TV audience. We increase the TV audience. We increase the pie chart. You increase the market of people that can spend. Not just like sitting there taking the internet geek that's watching the show these days, and he's making $400 a week working at Subway, and well, we got to figure out a way to get $100 of that guy's money every week.
Right.
Because he's watching the show. So it's like that's like it's you're attacking the market wrong. Is what you're doing, So it's just, I mean, you can just see it on the show. It's just that's what they're doing. We've spoken about this a million times before, but it's like I don't want to repeat it.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. What else?
Adam Rose, who was already serving a 60-day suspension for failing a drug test, and we discussed this last week how he thought he was not in the wrong. He had a doctor's note showing WWE knew about his prescription and all this stuff. Well, now he's suspended indefinitely because he was arrested and charged with domestic battery and felony tampering with a witness. What the report says is he's being accused of grabbing his wife's face while screaming at her during an argument, and then when she went to call for 911, he grabbed the phone from her, which is where the felony tampering with a witness charge is coming from. He was released on bond because his wife pleaded with the judge that it's best suited for their special needs child for both parents to be in the home, that Adam needs to be there, because the judge wanted to put a restraining order on it. So she fought against that. The judge didn't put the restraining order on, and the lawyer was saying that when he was reaching for the phone and yelling at his wife, that it wasn't in an aggressive way. It was more of a, hey, let's talk about this type of manner. So judge pushed the case off. He's got to go back in a few weeks or a few months or whatever. Has to have counseling with his pastor at his church. But WWE has suspended him indefinitely. So it just seems like, the stories come out how his sister recently died from drug overdose and the problems with his child, and everybody saw that on ESPN if they, on the 30 for 30, if they saw it. Very sad stuff. Now he gets suspended for what he believes is wrongful suspension, and now this happens. There's no excuses ever, if he actually did this. Obviously we don't know until the facts truly come out, but man, you gotta I don't know, hope for the best for him and his family anyway.
Glenn, what do you think about this?
Oh, it's just like screaming of like Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. It's like same thing, just negative story, then another negative story. Really, just bad. It's super bad press. That's what it is. It's really there's no positive spin. He's innocent to proving guilty, but this was a deal where so it's like Johnny Football, just like a negative story, failing a drug test. He's trying to protest his innocence. And then all of a sudden there's a domestic violence. It's like Johnny Manziel. That's what it felt like. And it's different than than football. In football, it's like if the guy's not on your team, you're not really as emotionally invested. But when you're a professional wrestling fan, you're a fan of all the you're a fan of all the guys, the performers on the show. So you're like a fan of the guy, And when you hear stuff like this, it's just it's like dumping mud all over it. It's just like it's of course it's bad. I mean, there's no positive spin. You just hope for the best,
Yeah. And I do too, bro, because I'll be honest with you. Hearing all this news, I don't know Adam Rose from a hole in the wall, bro. I've never met him. I never had a conversation. I'm worried about him. I mean, as a human being, I'm worried about him, bro. It just seems like there's just so much coming down on him. I heard his wife today. I watched the footage of her, kind of plead his case. I feel bad. I hope he's the kind of guy that can handle it. And, I saw the part about he's got to go for counseling, and I'm sure he will, and I hope that helps. But, Jeff, something very interesting, and as one of the boys, I want to get Glenn's feedback on this, because I guarantee you Glenn doesn't know about this. But a statement was made by somebody in WWE management. Tell Glenn about that statement. I want to get Glenn's handle on this.
Okay. Well, there was a tweet that a fan tweeted, or somebody, it was a generic tweet where they said Adam Rose was arrested. What a bad look this is for WWE. His career is finished. And Brian James, Road Dogg, who's a producer for WWE, he replied to the tweet and he said, if his career is finished, which it is, how does this look bad for WWE? There's zero tolerance for domestic abuse. So I just thought that was a little strange, unless he didn't mean it the way he said it. But he says his career is finished in the tweet, where WWE has not made that statement. They just said he was suspended indefinitely.
What do you think about that, Glenn?
I mean, well, it is what it is, bro. His career is finished right now. There might be redemption down the line and forgiveness and everything, but as of right now, when when you're serving a drug suspension that's kind of a zero tolerance to begin with, but not just so much with, and then of course it's a zero tolerance. Bro, that's what zero tolerance is. If you have a zero tolerance policy to domestic violence or abuse, if he's guilty of this and basically they heard the story of what he did, there's zero tolerance. You're done.
Right.
That's what a zero tolerance policy is.
Yeah.
So I'm not, that is what it is. I mean, if you have if you have a forgiveness policy, it's different. But if you have a zero tolerance policy, then his career with the WWE is finished.
Yeah.
And that's, unfortunately, that's the brass tacks. That's what it is. So it's like, I mean, it's an interesting tweet, but he pretty much said it like it is.
I gotta, Jeff, I got a little shout out there to my buddy Road Dogg. Brian James. And I love Brian James. I'll always love Brian James, even though we disagree on things now, and he says I'm a WWE hater and all that. That's fine. But, bro, I got to tell you, when I sit back and I watch, I think Brian gets too engaged with these people on Twitter. I mean, bro, when I worked for companies, when I worked for WWE, when I worked for TNA, when I worked for WCW, I did not get in exchanges with fans online. Now, I know it's grown since, I was active, but I mean, bro, just me personally, I would be so engrossed in the product and trying to make the product better and grow the numbers and do all that. I just don't think it's a good idea for Brian James to engage with fans and debate fans about the WWE product. Glenn, do you agree with that or no?
No, I think he's being pro. Let me tell you something. Back in 2007, 2008, when I was getting paid $100 a column to write columns for that WrestleZone.com, okay, and then I got hired. I started working at TNA, and I said, hey, can I still continue writing these columns for WrestleZone.com? Bro, I was doing what Brian James was doing 8 years ago. I was arguing with the internet wrestling community, defending TNA. Okay, I'd go with like this. Just we watch it 100.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like it didn't really get me there. But if you are confident in what you feel, it's no problem putting it out there. You can argue with these schmucks and stuff, everything all day long and everything. Once you go into it, if somebody's going to bury you, okay, big deal. This is the Twitterverse. This is like, especially since we're wrestlers, we're kind of cutting promos anyway. That's what we're doing.
But Glenn, wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute. If I tweeted out tonight, if I tweeted out, Bruce Bochy, Jake Peavy and Matt Kane are killing the rotation. You need to get them out of the rotation. Bruce, what are you doing? Get your head out of your backside. Bro, what are the chances of Bruce Bochy answering that tweet?
I don't know. Probably not.
Well, bro, he's management. He's management, bro.
This is professional wrestling. Okay? There's no rules. There's no
what do you think, bro? Vince McMahon's going to start answering tweets anytime soon?
No, but who cares if somebody does? I think it's interesting. You're like everybody's burying them. I mean, if there's somebody like big deal, somebody what do you it's like if I'm beating you down all the time and you never respond, it's like, are you supposed to be like chastised if you do respond? It's like big deal. Who cares?
Bro,
this is all irrelevant anyway.
If you're trying to defend with a company line that is absolute BS, everybody knows it, and it makes it worse, bro. He cannot go on Twitter and defend that product and
why not?
Win, bro.
But why not? He can try. What if he's working with you? What if bro, let me tell you something. What if Kevin Owens is a great guy? Just a great guy, works hard. Yeah. What if, maybe he's got some genetic eating disorder or something. I mean, bro, I'm hypothetically speaking, okay? You bury the guy a lot. Okay, what you can do, because this is you don't work for them. You're our critic. And that's what you get paid to do. People come on your show to listen to your reviews of the show and your commentary. You can do that. But if I could sit and say, bro, when I defend you on Twitter, okay, there's people like you right now that think you're an idiot, okay, that are looking at me like I'm an idiot for trying to defend you. It's just a cycle of opinion. Bro, that's all. It's just like,
bro, you are missing the point.
I'm not missing the point.
Let me tell you why. Why you're missing the point. I worked with Road Dogg. I
did too. I didn't work with the guy. I worked with the guy too.
Okay, but I worked with him for many years. Okay, bro, I know Road Dogg good enough and well enough to know that Road Dogg knows the stuff is bad.
I know that too.
Okay, he knows it's bad. That's the thing, bro. He knows it's bad. If I had a side conversation with Road Dogg, he would tell me, bro, you have no idea what's going on over here. Vince is senile. He would tell me that. So he's trying to defend something that he knows is bad. He's not going to win, bro.
Well, but I mean, who's he impressing though? What if what if Vince likes the guys defending their product, and Hunter likes that? That's the thing. He's got a different boss. He's got a different boss than you, So that's, it's not good, bro. Let me tell you, the problem is.
And bro, how am I stiff on Kevin Owens? Because I say I don't think a professional wrestler should be obesely overweight. That's what I say, bro.
Oh, you go out of your way. You go out of because Kevin Owens represents what the internet wrestling community is championing. They're putting the belt on this guy as this is a guy that we want to see fighting Brock Lesnar. We want to see this guy as a world championship. Just say so. And what you're saying is okay, guys, but you're doing 2.2s, and this is the guy you want, and there's maybe this is the reason that the guy is that you're doing 2.2s is because you want guys like this to be at the top of the promotions, everything, which is bro, you know the deal,
bro.
Okay? People that can argue these points with us, okay, they don't have any evidence to back up their claims. We have the evidence because we're saying, dude, when we wrote wrestling and performed, there were 10 million people watching. When you guys are doing it, there's 3 million people watching. Okay, and it's not bro, WWE Monday Night Raw is not a lot different than Nitro was. The format of the show. There's a lot of long in-ring talk segments. There's a lot of long matches, some 2 segments. The only difference is that Nitro had a lot of heat because Kevin Sullivan was booking a lot of heat back then, and the performers. Yeah. We had a 14-minute match between Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. We didn't have a 14-minute match between Cesaro and Kevin Owens. We had Ric Flair in the ring with Hulk Hogan cutting promos. We didn't have Stephanie in the ring with Big Cass, stuff like that. This is, bro, the difference today. And the difference back then, if you look, the shows are the same format. The performers are different. Okay, so it's so you can make that argument.
Bro, did you read? I thought this was the greatest thing. First of all, bro, I love Bret Hart. I know you got to work. I love Bret. Bro, did you read how Bret summed up what today's wrestlers are? That it was so simple, but it popped me. You know what Bret said?
What?
They look like swimmers, bro. They're swimmers. They're not wrestlers, they're swimmers. And then I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
Except
big-
Kevin Owens would probably sink, bro. I mean,
Come
outside of
on.
Kevin
Come on,
Owens,
dude. Like you said, you know, like
Bro,
look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, okay? And you're and people will get on you this, okay? And you do have a lot of merit in what you're saying, okay? And specifically speaking about Kevin Owens, okay? The guy is not a bad worker. Okay?
No.
He throws a good punch.
Right.
He said, but his weight makes him slow. Like you watch him when he hits the ropes, he's slow. Bro, if he's slimmed, if he's slow and he doesn't have that intensity in his strikes that a guy like Arn Anderson has. Arn Anderson was stocky, little overweight, but he was like crisp, stocky, and he could move. Bro, Hugh Morris could move.
Yeah.
You know, it's everything like that. Bro, the problem with Kevin Owens and the reason like the people don't bro, he's slow. When he's hitting the ropes, he's in slow motion. His speed in there. Bro, if he loses 25, 30 pounds, he could pick up speed and crispness in the ring.
You know, he'd be better. That's what I'm saying.
He would be better. And I agree with that. But you kind of like really, you know, why don't you say that?
No,
I'm giving him a specific constructive criticism on how, if he got in better shape, it would improve his work. Slim down, you'd look more like Arn Anderson, and it would increase your speed in the ring, which is very noticeable when you work. I'm sorry, I don't care what all of his fans thinking of it. He looks slow when he hits the ropes and stuff.
Now, bro,
So,
since we're on the same page,
okay.
would you not agree with me that Sami Zayn looks like a taxi cab driver?
I mean,
come on now, bro.
He looks like an average guy. He looks like a guy. You know, he looks like a guy. And let me tell you, bro, like this is great. The other day I'm watching this. They got the after Raw, they do these backstage interviews after the show, little 1 minute thing. What are those called? What is it called? Raw. Jeff, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the ones that they put on YouTube and stuff.
What are they called?
Aftermath? Is it Aftermath?
Yeah, something like that. And then those guys will do a minute and a half interview. Bro, you know what Sami Zayn's interviews sound like?
What?
He sounds like the hockey player in between periods. You know, doesn't really say the wrong things. You know, hey, it was a good, you know, we worked hard out there. Bro,
Listen,
you should
I want everybody to know I don't agree with that.
He sounds like a hockey player talking in between periods. Like,
I don't agree with that.
I'm just telling you,
I don't agree with that assessment at all. Everybody on Sami Zayn, please don't hold that against me. Jeff, we're never going to get through this with him, Jeff. I told you we shouldn't have brought him on the show. I told you what he was good.
Come on, this show is so much more entertaining than who's that other guy? Get on there, Andre Corbu. You know, what's his name? Andre Corbu.
Andre Corbu. Yeah. All right.
Corbu,
Jeff, what's next? Jeff, can we please go? Right? What's next, Jeff?
You did touch on this a little bit already, but WWE did release 8 people this week. One of them being Damian Sandow, and that, you know, you pretty much covered that. But they also released Wade Barrett, Santino Marella, Cameron, who we discussed last week with her bullying comments, Hornswoggle, Alex Riley, El Torito, and Zeb Coulter, Dutch Mantel. And then also came out that they recently released Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler, who's been there for 30 years. And I didn't see a reason for that. I just think I don't know. I want your guys' thoughts on this, having worked so long in the business successfully. Like, do you feel like no one is ever, you're always, whoever you are, you're eventually just going to get fired?
Yes.
Like, you're not going to retire. You know what I mean? Your day is going to come. Eventually, you're going to get fired. And I see this again. I think it was Mark Curtis. Wasn't it Mark Curtis, the timekeeper, with like his 30th anniversary? He got let go. And now Brooklyn Brawler. It's like 30 years, man. Like, can we just not let this guy retire? Or I don't know.
What do you think about that, Glenn? Being one of the boys and doing it for a very long time. What's your feeling on that, bro?
Well, the thing is, from what I understand, a lot of these people get hired at the same time. So their contracts expire at the same time, and whether they resign them or not, they basically just don't resign them. They let them go. So this is just I just can't believe that they're cutting some of the talented people that they have with 3 hours to fill on the show. You know, I couldn't believe like Sandow. They couldn't find Sandow was one of the most entertaining things on the show, and like he wasn't even on TV. And they're getting rid of the guy. It's like, how could you not like? Wade Barrett looks like $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, so I couldn't believe. Well, he asked for his release, so it's like they gave it to him. But I just can't believe with all the time they had to fill, and you know that they couldn't find something for a lot of these guys. And you know, I mean, Brooklyn Brawler 30 years, but what are you gonna do? Just keep paying the guy forever? I mean, you know, I mean, so at some point you're gonna, you got to quit paying the guy. I mean, what are you gonna pay these guys until they're 60? Until they. I mean, the guy, bro, when was last time he had a match?
Well, bro, but you know what, bro?
When's the last time he did anything?
But, bro, there are guys like that on the payroll that Vince does take care of. He does take care of some guys. Some guys fall in that category.
Maybe he screwed something up backstage, rubbed somebody the wrong way. We don't know, But I mean, they're cutting guys, and they cut people you like. Sometimes maybe we don't know the whole story. Yeah. The way they're interacting with management, maybe they're rubbing, maybe they're talking to people, and the people that they're talking to are stooging the conversations off, and stuff. You know how it works, bro. Yeah. I mean, we don't know it. We don't know any of that. We're just seeing this on the surface. So.
And let's face it, too, Glenn. If they want to get rid of somebody, they'll find a reason to get rid of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's simple. All right, Jeff. What else?
This one, you can take this one with a grain of salt, but one TNA wrestler apparently told Dave Meltzer that the TNA had told the talent to tweet about high morale after the internet was reporting about low morale. So then, that day where apparently he said he was going to tweet, all these tweets started coming out from TNA talent, and they all said something about high morale. It seems like it could be true. Again, only one person is saying this. But if it is true, it's just why does what's being reported on the internet matter to these people? Vince, I know you've covered it over and over and over, and then nobody listens. But why does this matter? I mean, they mentioned Dave Meltzer on Impact this week.
Yeah, how about that, Glenn? Did you hear about this?
No, what did they say?
They had Maria say Maria's booking the Knockouts division now on air, and so she told two of the girls, I want a 5-star match like that Davey M guy talks about all the time.
Can you imagine this?
Yeah, why not? Big deal. Only 200,000 people watch the show anyway. They probably all read Meltzer's stuff anyway, so why would you not reference the guy? I mean, you're talking about such a small audience. They're all internet marks and stuff, everything, big deal.
Yeah, but, bro, that's the problem. That's the problem, Glenn. If they keep thinking small, they're always going to be small. That's the problem.
I agree with that, but what are you going to do? You're not going to talk about, big deal. If Dave, maybe the internet marks that aren't watching the show, maybe that got a couple, a few hundred more people to watch the show next week, and they'll do 200,000 viewers or so. Bro, I don't watch a show nobody watches it. These shows that nobody watches, I don't watch. This
Glenn,
small-time wrestling.
What are you watching nowadays, Glenn? What's your favorite shows on TV right now?
I just been all engaged in the NBA playoffs right now. When the playoffs are on and hockey and everything, I'm just all in on the sports right now.
Did you see the new Dice show on Showtime?
I've not seen that yet. I like to watch shows over a course 3 or 4 days. Watch them in bulk.
Yeah, that's how Jeff is.
Yeah, I don't. So I'm gonna let Game of Thrones get up to 5 or 6 episodes. I'm gonna watch it 1 through 5 or 6. Yeah. I watch Game of Thrones, but
what are the odds of you sitting down and watching 6 episodes of TNA Impact in a row?
In a row?
Yeah.
Without a fast forward button?
Yes.
0.0%.
Okay. All right, Jeff. What's next?
Especially since Bobby Roode's off the show now.
Yeah,
I thought he was one of the best. His work was some of the best in the business.
He was great, Bobby.
JTG, who was one of the members of Crime Time in WWE, I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to see them. It was when you were in TNA. I guess he had written a book, and in the book he said that a legend said to him, "Hey, you, Mr. Crime Time, I want to talk to you. You and your partner are a mockery to my business. I helped build this business with my own 2 hands. If it was up to me, you all wouldn't be here. We should never have accepted your kind in the business to begin with. I can't wait to get every last one of you out. You're a mockery. You hear me? A damn mockery." And so he was doing an interview with the Pancakes and Power Slam show, and they asked him about that quote, JTG, and he said, "That quote was said by someone who was definitely under the influence. He was with his wife, was definitely under the influence by the bar. Me being 21 or 22 at the time, hearing him say that, and I have so much respect for him in the business. This guy is a Hall of Famer, a legend. he was definitely a pioneer in the wrestling industry and definitely took it to the next level. But when he said it, because of my respect for him and not being too much enlightened and having the knowledge of racism or even being in total denial, at the time I was definitely in denial. When he said that statement that he made, I thought he was talking about rookies, guys who were coming from OVW. That's how I took it as, and that's how I wanted to take it as, because I didn't want to think that the guy was a racist. I had so much respect for him. It wasn't until the second time where he pretty much showed his cards, and at the bar again with his wife, I was like, wow, yeah, this guy confirmed to me that he is a racist, and I couldn't be in denial anymore. And the host tried to get JTG to give more details of who the person was, and he would not say, but he did confirm that he's popularly known by a catchphrase. So I mean that's a huge statement to say. I know Vince, and I'm sure Glenn, you've talked about. I don't know for sure, but Vince, you've always talked about how there's old school racist and sexist people in the business. With him saying this, do you feel like he handled this the right way? Do you feel like he should say who said it? Do you feel like maybe he shouldn't have said anything at all if he's not going to say who said this to him?
Bro,
Any
listen,
thoughts on this?
well, I'm going to let Glenn comment, but I'm going to say this first. Yes, wrestling is old school. There are racists and sexists in the wrestling business, no doubt about it. And, bro, Vince McMahon knows who every one of them are. Okay, he knows who they are. JTL over here doesn't need to out the person. Trust me, Vince knows who it is. But I will also say this, bro. I say this all the time, and I go on the record 1,000,000 times. I was never, ever, ever, ever involved in any situation at WWE, TNA, or WCW where race was an issue. Bro, more sexists was an issue. More racism towards women was by far more an issue than, black people or Mexicans or Japanese. I never, ever experienced racism holding a guy back. Never in all my years in wrestling, bro. But yes, there are individuals like that in the business. Vince knows who they are, but I don't think that those people have really a big enough impact to affect the career of somebody that might be an African American or a Mexican wrestler, or I just don't believe that. Glenn, what about you?
Who's the guy?
Who do you think it is, bro? Come on.
I have no clue.
I can't say because I could be wrong, but I got a good idea.
Well, JTG is supposed to put it in his book. That's also the thing, right, Jeff?
No, I don't think he. Well,
are you sure?
That's the passage.
I thought that's what I was reading too. I thought I read the same thing. That's his book is coming out, and he was discussing that. That might be coming up in his book, and he was just kind of like that's a tease, Am I right?
That very well may be true. Not the article that I read doesn't mention that, so I don't know for sure. But he would not say who it is. But they don't say whether it's in the book or not.
Interesting. I don't know. I've been out of the loop long. I've never heard any. Sorry, over guy with a catchphrase. Why can't we say? Do we know who it is?
I got a pretty good idea.
I highly recommend against not guessing.
I would never say, but I got a pretty good idea.
Okay. Here, text me. Who is it?
Nice.
Come on, I want to know who it is. I mean,
bro, nobody ever called you like a big-nosed Italian. You're never gonna win the belt. Oh, okay,
you did.
Right.
You and Conan.
Jeff, let me say this on the air. There was an instant where Conan got a hold of the Disco Inferno's telephone, and he had the phone, and he came to me, and he was very troubled. And I said, Conan, what's wrong? And Conan said, Vince, I hijacked Glenn's phone, and he's got the same number on here that he's calling over and over and over again, and I'm very disturbed by this. And I said, Conan, what number is he calling? And Conan confirmed it was the man line. So there was some speculation. There was some speculation.
Okay, a complete fabrication by
I don't
Conan
think this is fair if Conan's not here on the show to defend himself.
Discredit my good name, all right? And you guys have stuck to that story for years, and that is that's another thing. That's why you guys are on my list. That's why you were on my list.
I don't think we should discredit Conan if he's not here to defend himself.
You guys are unbelievable, bro.
But that's how the story went, and it was not held against Glenn, bro.
All right, well, Conan has been known with regards to me specifically to tell a lot of quote-unquote tall tales. Okay?
All right, Jeff, do we have any other nonsense to talk about?
That is it for this week.
All right, Mr. Gilbert, is there any words of wisdom that you would like to add?
Nothing. I got to bury all my people that I wanted to bury, right?
I
buried Conan. I buried Court for UN Court for discrediting me and making fun of me and saying when you guys haven't had the opportunity. Let me ask you a question. Did you ever put that the podcast with you in Court up yet?
Jeff, did I?
Yeah, it was up. It was up for VIPs.
Oh, and you guys you buried me. That's unbelievable. You guys, you're a piece of work, bro. Yeah. Every week you come in here and say I killed the wrestling business and stuff, and just I think it's just disrespect. And here I come and try to save your show.
Do you want to bury the man line?
Well, that's untrue story. You always try to do that. Is that all the news this week? That's it.
That's it, bro.
Kind of a lame week, huh?
Hey, Glenn,
there was one other thing, but we were close on time.
Go ahead,
let's
Jeff.
Hear it, let's hear it.
It was just a quote that I thought you guys would get a kick out of. Triple H was doing an interview with 98 FM Dublin, and they asked him how WWE is going to create the next Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock, and Triple H claimed that WWE puts talents in the best position to succeed, and individual effort and passion will determine who rises to the top.
Wow.
Well, then they obviously don't have very many talented guys these days. I'll tell you who I like. I'll tell you, but he's got a hole in his work that needs to really improve. Is that Big Cass guy?
Yeah, I like him.
Big Cass, I like. He had a good, strong talking segment on Monday. He throws a weak punch. Yeah. He throws a weak punch, and that's bad. There's things like that like a lot of guys that have talent, there's holes in their work like that, little details, and that's like. People like us see it, but nobody else likes to talk about it because, here's the thing: you call them tumblers, bro. They're not tumblers. This is the word you got to use. They're scripted acrobats. That's what they're. That's what it is. That's what wrestling is today. It's scripted acrobatics.
They're tumbling. They're tumbling, bro.
It's not simulation of fighting, which is what we're supposed to be doing. It's scripted acrobatics. So it's like And the thing is, when you're doing scripted acrobatics, it hurts, because you're doing a lot of acrobatic things that require, big high risk and stuff and all that. So the funniest thing is, instead of simulating a fight and making it look real, they're doing things that actually hurt when we know that it's fake. So it's like,
speaking of which, Jeff, speaking of which, I was just reading today, I guess AJ's really beat up to the point that they had to take him off the road, right?
Of course he is, bro. Let me tell you something. That strong style, you like that strong. Shinsei Nakamura, he's got great charisma.
Yeah.
Okay, he's like a star, bro. Let me tell you something. That guy's that ain't gonna last. He's kicking people in the head. They're kicking each other in the head. They're forearming each other in the head hard. Everything. It's like there's completely a complete lack of respect to the knowledge that we have on concussion prevention these days. And we'll sit there and they'll talk about it, and then they'll have a match, and I'm like, bro, what are these guys doing out there? Why are they letting them do that? I go, teach these guys how to throw a fake working punch. Don't teach them how to clobber each other in the side of the head.
But Glenn, what is happening? There are trainers at the facility. Our boy Norman Smiley's there. Terry Taylor's there. Bro,
that's the one thing I can't believe. Terry Taylor throws one of the best punches in the history of the business. Everybody coming out of that training center in NXT should throw a great punch. Bro, I teach this class on Wednesday nights. I get the bunch of green kids off the street that that don't work out and everything. They look like they're fighting each other. I get them punching each other back and forth and kicking and stuff. They look like they're beating each other up.
Breakdown, bro.
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just the emphasis on scripted acrobatics. That's where we're going. That's that's where they're going. That's what they think is the way. And I don't get it, man.
Bro, did you get your Raven DVDs?
Yes, I did. I gotta watch. I'm gonna watch it tonight, probably.
And tell everybody what we're gonna do, you and me.
We're gonna review the Raven DVDs. Because let me tell you, so the one thing Raven loves to do, to preview this, the kayfabe commentaries Raven DVD, is Raven loves to let everybody know how smart he is. Okay? All right?
Bro,
So,
meanwhile, you go into his apartment, and how many comic book statues does he have, bro?
bro, his apartment looks like you and Jeff's. He's got all the toys and stuff and everything in the background and stuff and all that. He's got like he's got probably 30 boxes of comic books on the living room floor and stuff and everything. But that was back
I think very highly of Sean Oliver. Bro, you had a great interview with them, don't you think?
I liked it, yeah.
I mean, he asked you every question. I thought it was very, very enjoyable. Bro, guess who he just did a 3-hour DVD on?
Nash.
No,
yeah.
after Nash. Guess who he just did, bro?
No clue. Who?
Joey Ryan. What do you think about Joey's bionic penis sweeping the worldwide interweb?
Bro, come on. I mean, bro, let me tell you something. It's entertaining, but, pro wrestling was, if you're a fan and, like, you bring your kids to the show one time and they see that, I mean, you're bringing them back the next time? If you see that guy's on the show?
I mean, bro, it's comedy, man. I mean, come on.
I know, it's comedy, bro.
Do you know Joey Ryan?
I've worked a few shows with him.
Very smart, bro. He was on my show. Very intelligent guy, bro. He runs his own promotion over there in L.A. He does really well.
Right? Yeah, it is what that gimmick is like. Almost, he did it a few times. It's funny, everything. I don't think he should be doing it again. For going forward. I mean, it's ridiculous. But
that is
he should be wrestling. If that's what he was doing, he should wrestle. Him and Shark Boy should do the loop, where Shark Boy can bite him in the butt, like with the shark mouth and stuff, and he can do it right.
How is our boy Shark Boy? Have you been in touch with him lately?
Oh, I want to put him on the list too. He kind of takes chances to bury me every once in a while. Every time you bury me, he kind of chimes in a little bit.
Well, bro, let's face it. You practically killed his career with the Dean Baldwin introduction. I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
You booked that, all right? You booked that, all right? Okay, so let's call a spade a spade. That was your idea,
bro.
Right?
Who came up with Dean Baldwin?
He did.
I thought you did.
No, it's his idea. He didn't want to do Dean Baldwin forever.
Then you deserve to bury him for that idea. I give you permission.
It's his fault.
Where can they follow you, Glenn? Give them your Twitter and all that good stuff.
At The Real Disco.
That's it. That's all they need to know.
Glenn Gilberti at The Real Disco.
Bro,
make sure you go on at The Real Disco, because I got some geek that took The Real Disco and put at Glenn Gilberti, and he stole my account. He put my picture up there, so he's like a geek. You want to read some tweets from the guy that did the fake account with me?
You have some? Yeah, read them. Go ahead, bro. Make sure are they clean?
They're clean, but they're kind of like,
let's hear some. Go ahead. Hey, Glenn, let me ask you a question while you're looking for that. Bro, how come you guest on all these podcasts, but you don't do your own?
Because I work. I got a job.
All
okay,
right.
Here he is. Okay, here's some of the quotes. Here's some of the tweets from Disco Inferno at Glenn Gilberti. I eat animals. So what? LOL.
And you actually read this. You actually read this to entertain yourself.
Court Bauer retweets it sometimes. When it tags me. Okay. Corn comes out whole, but not beans. That's another tweet.
All right, enough of this, bro. Enough.
That's an idiot, bro. I guess
everybody. This is why I hesitate to bring him on the show, because it always leads into foolishness and skullduggery.
Okay, I'm on your show. What's it called? Lions, Tigers, Pigs in Dirt.
Lions, Tigers, Pigs in Dirt with Andre Cornball.
Yeah.
But listen, there he is, everybody. The great Glenn Gilberti. All right, everybody, listen, that's it for Lion, Tigers, Bears, and Dirt. Glenn, thanks for joining us. We look forward to the next time you grace us with your presence.
I'm sure you do. I'll come here to save the show again. How's that other show you're doing with the chick that dates the guy from Different Strokes?
That's a whole.
Bro, time out. I want you to ask Scott Casey Gale, okay, the next time he's having him on the show, if when I did In Your Head Radio, okay, I did a podcast with him a few months ago, ask him if he called in to ask me a question on In Your Head Radio. I swear to God, the guy sounded exactly like him.
In Your Head Radio.
In Your Head Radio, I did a podcast with them, and basically, I swear to God, I thought it was him that asked me a question. Sounded just like him.
Bro, can we wrap up this show now? Enough with you. We've been on an hour and 15 minutes. Enough.
Wrap it up.
All right, that's it. Everybody, we'll see you here next week. God, this the last time he's coming on, bro. That's it.